All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show on a Sunday afternoon. Hope everybody's having a great day. And of course, Pig and a Pickle, the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Check them out. They're in Corte Madera and Emeryville. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. I got to read you guys this one because this cracked me up. A guy sent me this yesterday. It says, yesterday I was out in Marin and walked by the Pig and a Pickle. And as I was walking by, I growled, "Pig in a pickle," obviously imitating me. He says, my wife looked at me like I was choking on something. And then the guy walking the other way said the same thing louder and high-fived me and yelled, "Krug," as his girlfriend punched him on their way into the eatery. So there you go. Pig in a pickle. The title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Damon and Mary. Go get some brisket. Go get some brisket chili. Tell them the Krug sent you. And this video is brought to you by Mancini Sleep World, proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Mancini's offering a 120-night guarantee with a range of brands and price points. With Mancini's, you get free next-day delivery. It's fantastic. I'm loving my Mancini's bed. We'll talk about it in a bit. And you can use a code to get 10% off your mattress purchase at any Mancini Sleep World, courtesy of the Krug Show. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Niners and the Tennessee Titans. First, we'll go over the good, then we'll get into kind of the bad. I went through and watched the game, obviously one time. Then I watched it again last night. I watched it again this morning. I know. It's like I have to be the only person in the world who's watching preseason game number 1 3 times in like a 10-hour period. But that is true. That's exactly what I did. And I went through and made notes on all 4 quarters, the positives, the negatives, and let's go through it. We'll start with the positives and then we'll go to the negatives. And we're going to go quarter by quarter. All right, first quarter. 49ers came out in the first quarter running the football. Brandon Allen started at quarterback. He engineered a first quarter drive, a touchdown drive that went 11 plays and 74 yards. A lot of it was a run-heavy deal. J.P. Mason had a wonderful tackle-breaking run. We were looking at Dominic Pooney starting at right guard. On that drive, Brandon Allen hit Ronnie Bell on a 3rd and 9 for a first down. That was impressive. The guy who impressed me, though, when I watched it again, was the left tackle, Chris Hubbard, who started for Jalen Moore, who was ill. I thought Hubbard looked fantastic. Now, I don't know if he was just motivated going against his former team, but, I mean, he's a big, strong guy with long arms, and he uses his feet, and he didn't get his feet stuck. And he played with a bended knee, and he played with leverage, and he didn't give up any sacks, and he looked good. I mean, Chris Hubbard to me looked good in this first preseason game. I'd love to know what you guys thought of him. On that first drive, the Niners played Eric Saubert at tight end, and Kittle didn't play. He was in civvies. Most of the guys didn't play. Most of the top, the Purdy, Debo, Kittle, all the big boys for the most part didn't play. But on that opening drive, J.P. Mason had a great run up the middle, and on the run, Eric Saubert just absolutely pancaked the defender. And you heard Kittle talking about it late in the broadcast. And Saubert is kind of a stiff. He's slow. His hands are just okay. But, this guy can really move people in the run game. He's very strong in the upper body. It's going to be really interesting to see who makes the tight end 2, tight end 3. Saubert, I think right now is the inside track because he's a strong blocker. He would probably replace Charlie Warner. I still think Mason Pline has looked really good. Braden Willis didn't look good in this game, but has looked good in practice. I thought Cam Latu looked pretty decent in this game. He caught a couple balls. Tongus, the young kid from Cal, also looked pretty good. So the tight end competition, needless to say, is wide open. The veteran that they signed the other day, they cut. So, it's a wide open deal. Also in that first quarter, Brandon Allen threw to Chris Conley, and he stepped up in the pocket. He was getting rushed off the edge. He felt the pressure on, I believe, on the front side, and he just stepped up into the pocket and looked down the field and found Conley on a crosser and made it look real easy. I mean, it's the kind of play that Brock Purdy makes repeatedly, but Brandon Allen made it look pretty routine. On the touchdown run where Mason scores, Pooney was the lead blocker and then kind of pushed him into the end zone. And I love what I'm seeing from Dominic Pooney. I think there's a very good chance he's a plug and play starter at right guard. Also in that first quarter, Jair Brown made a fantastic solo tackle against the run. Jalen Graham also had a big play on it. He saved the touchdown on the kickoff return. If there was one downside in the first quarter, 49ers could not defend the kickoff return. Their kickoff return coverage was just atrocious, really poor tackling. Jackson had a huge return all the way down to the red zone. But on that play, Jalen Graham saved the touchdown with a hustle play with a tackle on Jackson to preserve a touchdown. So good play there by Jackson. Also in the first quarter, D. Winters had a fantastic tackle for a loss. Winters looked fast in this game. I mean, he was fast. He was instinctive. He had a huge hit in the first quarter on Levis. Will Levis, the quarterback for the Titans, was running it in. And here comes Odom and D. Winters, and they just smacked him around hard. And he went down. A good hit by Winters on the quarterback. As far as negatives in the first quarter, I mean, the poor kickoff return coverage units. I mean, that stood out like a sore thumb. T.Y. McGill jumped off sides when, at just the most inopportune moment, Chris Kasarik yanked him off the field and got in his face. The clock was ticking down. They were just trying to draw the Niners off, and McGill, I don't know what. McGill's a veteran, man. You can't make that mistake. I mean, that was really bad. In fact, T.Y. had two neutral zone infractions. I mean, you can't jump off sides. You're not giving the team much as a pass rusher anyway, so you really can't jump off sides. He did twice in this game, so those were huge negatives. And then Ambry Thomas had a defensive hold penalty in the end zone in that first quarter, which set the Titans up on the doorstep for an easy touchdown. I mean, it's preseason. It doesn't matter. I actually never saw the hold. It was away from the cameras and they didn't show the replay. All right. That was the first quarter. Now let's get into the second quarter. In a 7-7 ball game, Trent Taylor had a 30-yard kickoff return in that second quarter. The new punter, Presley Harvin, not to be concerned with Percy Harvin, Presley Harvin, the former Steeler, had just a booming long punt. And I don't know what Mitch Wishnowski's deal is. I know he's got knee tendonitis. I know he's banged up. But this kid Harvin's got a booming leg. The one thing about Wishnowski is he's just so money at with the touch punts inside the 20. So I don't think he's going to lose his job to Harvin. But if by chance Wishnowski's knee tendonitis bothers him, this kid Harvin's just got a booming leg. He had a couple of really booming punts. Malik Mustafa had a really hard hit against the run in that second quarter. Kalia Davis probably played his best game as a 49er. Kalia Davis had a tackle for a loss against the run. Then he had another tackle for a loss where he split the double team, and to watch this guy at 6'2", 310 jump into the backfield and show that pass rush ability that I've known he's had, but man, we have not seen it. It's now or never for Kalia Davis in his NFL career. He either produces this summer or he has no NFL career. And I don't think that's overstating things at all. I think you only get so long. He's had a couple years now. This guy played linebacker in college. He outgrew linebacker. He still moves exceptionally well. And you saw it in this game against the Titans. If Kalia Davis can continue to move as well going forward as he did in this game, he's going to be a major player for the Niners. He looked fantastic. I mean, he showed the level of explosiveness that you typically don't see in 6'2", 310. So loved what I saw from Kalia Davis. That was the best I've ever seen from Kalia Davis. It was also the best I've ever seen from Curtis Robinson. You know, Robinson's having a terrific camp. They lined him up at the middle backer spot. He's wearing the green dot, not Winters, not Graham. It's Curtis Robinson. And in man-to-man coverage, he had a phenomenal solo tackle on the running back in the second quarter. And then on the very next play, Malik Mustafa came, exploding across the line with a monster hit on 4th and 1. And good for Shanahan to challenge it, because the ruling on the field was first down, and Mustafa couldn't believe it. And when they showed the replay, you could see that he got penetration into the backfield, that the running back did not get any kind of forward progress. And when they looked at it again, they're like, yeah, 49er ball, turnover on down. So Malik Mustafa, I mean, watch out for this guy. This guy looks a ton. He hits a ton. He runs well. What a 4th-round pick. In a down year for safeties, the Niners may have gotten the best in Malik Mustafa. He looks awesome right now. I mean, he doesn't look awesome for a 4th-round pick. He looks awesome. I mean, he is exploding and making plays. This guy's smart. He's a hitter. He can run. Ton to like about Malik Mustafa. Brandon Allen also had a 30-plus yard pass play in the second quarter down the field to Frank Darby. Darby, who was just signed recently because of the injuries at wide receiver, made a nice play there. You know who had a good game in this game was Rock Ya-Sin. He made a number of good coverage plays throughout the game, and he got a lot of run. I didn't see the total snap count on Rock Ya-Sin, but he had great coverage on the fade back shoulder throw that Tennessee was trying to throw at the Niners. Phenomenal coverage for Rock Ya-Sin, who, you know, Rock Ya-Sin is going to help the Niners if he makes this team. He has 40 career starts. He's a pretty good football player. And he's looked good all summer. He really has. I don't know that he has a spot on the roster, but he's either going to take a spot from somebody or he's going to earn a spot because he looks great. Shaquille Brown, the big defensive tackle, batted down a pass in that second quarter, and the Niners went into the half trailing 14-7. Now, as far as the negatives in the second quarter, Taylor Hawkins missed a tackle on a screen pass. Tyjae Spears had a 4-yard touchdown run where he went totally untouched. Curtis Robinson was caught inside, and he just had the wrong run fit. Tay Martin dropped a deep ball from Brandon Allen on 3rd down that would have, offered Brandon Allen another 50 yards of passing yards in the box score, and it would have given Tay Martin another beautiful catch. It may have been PI before the ball arrived, but Tay, still, the ball hit his hands. He probably should have caught it. Malik Mustafa was beaten for a touchdown by the tight end, but the tight end stepped out of bounds, or he was beaten on a long pass play by the tight end, but the tight end stepped out of bounds. So it was obviously negated by that. The Niners really didn't do a very good job in the second quarter at covering the tight end out of the flat. There were 2 plays where D. Winters was just late getting over. And the tight end standing there, and there ain't nobody around. I mean, he's got all day to run up and down the field. Ronnie Bell dropped a deep ball from Brandon Allen as well. Allen was sacked by Chase Campbell on a play. And then just sloppy tackling on the screen pass to Chestnut. If there's one area that the Niners really, a random mistake in a preseason game, totally forgettable. When it's something that is a problem area and you see them making the same mistake over and over and over again, then it's a problem. And the Niners have had sloppy tackling for the last year plus on screen passes. And that's got to end, because when you play this wide 9 and you have the kind of pass rush they have, they're going to throw screen passes. They're going to neutralize your rush with screen passes. So you're going to have to defend them better than you've defended them, in this first preseason game or at any point last year. The Niners used to be fantastic at defending screen passes, and I don't know what happened, but somewhere along the line, they lost their ability to defend the screen, and they better get it back, or they're going to get gashed all year on screen passes. All right, that was the first half. Now let's fast forward to the second half. First play of the second half, who had the big play on special teams? That's right, Malik Mustafa. Big blow-up hit on special teams. Also in the third quarter, Evan Anderson stayed home against the run, made a phenomenal play. Tatum Bethune looked great against the run. They just signed him a couple days ago, but Jonathan Garvin, who, ran in the 4.8s when coming out of Miami, but man, he looked good wearing number 78, I believe, and playing defensive end, and he looked good against the run. He made two really, really aggressive plays against the run where he had the blocker literally a stripe on a stripe right on him, and he just threw him away like a tissue paper and grabbed the running back and threw him to the ground. So Garvin just showed tremendous strength, and he did have great strength coming out of Miami. I think it was like 35 reps of 225 on the bench. So that strength that Garvin has showed, and his lack of speed didn't burn him, but he didn't make a lot of plays against the in the pass rush, but man, he was fantastic against the run. He really looked good against the run. As far as negatives in that third, or other positives in the third quarter, Renardo Green had a fumble recovery. That was the first takeaway of the game. Cody Schrader had a really nice run. If you look at Cody Schrader's box score, you go, 5 carries, 6 yards, or 6 carries, 5 yards. Oh man, Cody Schrader wasn't very good. Cody Schrader was really good. It's just that he had 2 nice plays in this game, and both of them were negated by penalties. One of them was a catch out of the backfield that got negated by a penalty. One happened here in the third quarter where he had about a 12-yard run up the right side, and it was a 1st and 10 run play, and he busted it for 12 yards. Ronnie Bell called for the holding, and the whole thing was negated because of that. So, and sometimes the box score lies, and this is a perfect example. Garvin had another play against the run, and Jalen Graham had a couple plays against the run, and Robert Beal had a nice defensive play against the run. So those defensive ends and Graham and Bethune as well. Bethune had a solo tackle. Ezekiel Turner made a nice play against the run. The Niner linebackers in that third quarter really started to make plays. Beal, Graham, Garvin, Turner. I mean, some of these guys are DNs, of course, but all these guys were active against the run. Ronnie Bell had a holding call, which negated that Schrader 12-yard run. That was a negative. Dobbs had a pass that was tipped at the line of scrimmage by Tennessee in the third quarter. That obviously was a negative. And then Robert Beal lost contain on Malik Willis's run. Malik Willis has got some ability as a runner. And if you let him break contain, he'll bust you and gash you for a big run. And sure enough, Robert Beal lost contain as the defensive end. Willis got outside of him and busted him for about a 30-yard run. So that was the third quarter. All right, let's fast forward to the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter was interesting. Fourth quarter of preseason games can be kind of ugly. I thought Alex Barrett looked good against the run. He made a couple of nice plays against the run. Kalia Davis had another tackle for a loss in that fourth quarter. Cody Schrader had a 30-yard kickoff return. I really think Cody Schrader and Debo might got 2 guys that are just ideally suited for that new kickoff rule. And Schrader busted one for 30 yards in the fourth quarter. Dobbs scored a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown, and he did a somersault a la John Elway into the end zone to make it 17-13. And then they went for the 2-point conversion. The Niners did, and it failed. But I'll say this for Dobbs. I mean, just the fact that he would, risk life and limb. I mean, John Elway did it, but he did it with the Super Bowl on the line. This guy did it in preseason game number 1. He's not even for sure on the roster, and he's doing a somersault in the midair and taking a massive hit all to get into the end zone. I mean, it was great. I mean, it was anytime you can show as a quarterback your teammates that you're all in on the W, you're going to win guys over. So I'm sure there are guys in that room going, Dobbs, man. Dobbs is the man. Jalen Mahoney, the rookie from Vanderbilt, had a nice hit in the fourth quarter. Bethune had another nice play against the run. Dobbs hit a beautiful slant to Tay Martin. Tay Martin made a number of catches in this game. Tracy Walker, the newest safety, had a nice play against the run. And then Tatum Bethune and Jalen Graham combined on a tackle for loss in the run game right at the end of the fourth quarter. So, I loved what I saw from Bethune. Bethune led the Niners with 8 tackles. Now, he doesn't move exceptionally well, but you know what? This guy is he's faster than his timed speed. That's for sure. Dobbs also, had a chance to lead the Niners down the field, and he hit Trent Taylor, he hit Cam Latu a couple times, he hit Tay Martin a couple times. He looked good, but ultimately the 49ers did not come back, and they wound up losing 17-13. T.Y. McGill had another offsides penalty in the fourth quarter. That can't happen. Ambry Thomas, of course, we mentioned, had a broken forearm. That was a big negative in this game. Dobbs actually had the game-winning touchdown on the final drive. Tay Martin on the Niners sidelines had separation on the corner. He had beaten him. He had a full 2 steps on him, and Dobbs just led him by 2 minutes, led him by about 10 feet through the ball, led him a little too far, and it was incomplete. That was a touchdown. I mean, that was going to make it 2017 49ers, and the Niners won the game. So that was the second to last play of the game. And then on the last play of the game, Dobbs threw an interception on the final play. He just threw it up for grabs, and they picked it off. So that obviously impacted his numbers negatively. But overall, I would say, a strong performance by Dobbs, a strong performance by Allen. Jordan Mason was fantastic. Kalia Davis was really, really good. Cody Schrader was better than the stats indicated. Garvin made some nice plays on defense. Tatum Bethune made some nice plays on defense. Tracy Walker got in the mix and made some plays. So a lot of good things for sure for the 49ers in this game. They lose the game. The only major injury was the Ambry Thomas injury. And Thomas is probably going to miss several weeks, right? I mean, he's going to be out. He broke his forearm. I didn't see the exact play that he broke the forearm on, but he's going to miss for sure the rest of the preseason and probably the beginning of the year. So, that's, once again, I mean, you can only have, when you run out of corners, you got real problems. The Niners last year had Deshaun Jameson. They cut him. And within 3-4 weeks, they were looking for corners off the street. And they had to sign anybody they could find. This year, they've got like 7 or 8 NFL caliber corners, but they just lost one for the next month or so in Ambry Thomas. So now, your 8 or 9 corners are down to 7 or 8 corners. And you're you have to have, the old coach used to say the key to pass coverage is pass coverage. In other words, there ain't no key to pass coverage. You got to have dudes. You got to have guys who can cover. You got to have legit talent. And when the Niners had an extra corner last year, they let him get out the door at the cut down, and they regretted it. They missed him within weeks. A lot of people are saying they should cut Ambry Thomas. Ambry Thomas is a physical prototype. He can play corner in this league. So they lost one guy in the short term, but they do have tremendous corner depth still. So just a quick recap of this thing. I thought Mason looked really good. I thought Brandon Allen looked really good. Some of the defenders, Graham and Jair Brown and D. Winters. I mean, these guys. Mustafa was fantastic. Kalia Davis was fantastic. Curtis Robinson, I think, is emerging as a guy who's a player. I mean, he's much more than a special teamer. Curtis is smart. He's fast. He knows this defense. So he looked good. Rock Ya-Sin looked good. Shaquille Brown and Evan Anderson, the 2 big rookie defensive tackles, looked good. Bethune looked really good. Garvin, I thought, was outstanding against the run. Showed a lot of activity. Tracy Walker made some nice plays. So there's a lot of positives. A lot of positives for the 49ers. The biggest negatives were some of the mistakes, the special teams kickoff coverage. T.Y. McGill mentally wasn't there. Ambry Thomas broke the forearm. Dobbs and Allen had a couple of hiccups where they didn't look great. But D Winters, had a couple missed tackles, so he was a little out of control at times. But overall, I would say a lot of positives for the 49ers in the opening game. Win or lose means absolutely nothing. It really doesn't matter if you win or lose. But and as far as Tanner Mordecai, Kawachipto here says Mordecai isn't anything. You're wrong, and time will prove you incredibly stupid. So I think that's gonna look really bad. That comment's gonna look really bad in about 3-4 weeks. Mordecai has looked really good in practice, and I asked Purdy about him. He's like, man, this guy can really rip it. He's got probably the strongest arm between Dobbs and Allen and Purdy and Mordecai. Mordecai has the strongest arm between Purdy, Dobbs, Allen, and Mordecai. I think Mordecai is probably the fastest. So you're talking about the guy who's got the best arm, who's also the fastest. And we'll see. We'll see. He didn't play in this game. I kind of think, and this is one of those things where they could have not played him because they don't think he's very good, or they could think he's very good. And I think the 49ers are really aware that the rest of the league, when you land Brock Purdy as Mr. Irrelevant, people start taking notice of your quarterback selections. And people have noticed that the 49ers have added Tanner Mordecai. And if all of a sudden Tanner Mordecai played well in the preseason, there would be zero chance that he would sneak through waivers. So are they trying to pickle jar him and sneak him through waivers and get him on the practice squad? Possibly. It's possible they just wanted to give Dobbs and Allen, an elongated warm up, or at least first go round in the preseason. But I'm pretty sure that Tanner Mordecai is going to be able to play when it's all said and done. All right. Kenny says, that's a swell mic, Lair. Thank you. It's Kev's. Do you like that? Kev's mic. We're down here in the so this is the dining room. Wow. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krueger Show. And let's tell you a little bit about Mancini's. If you want to help out the Krueger Show, go buy a bed from Mancini's Sleep World. Mancini's Sleep World is now a proud sponsor of the Krueger Show. That's right. We just got our Mancini's bed. My wife and I love it. They just delivered it last week. They showed up exactly when they said they were going to show up. They took away the old mattress. It was a great experience. The guys were really, really nice. And they brought it in, they brought it upstairs, they set it up. It was fantastic. And Mancini's offers a 120-night guarantee with a range of brands and price points for every consumer. With Mancini's, you get free next-day delivery. Click the link below or go to sleepworld.com and find a bed that works for you. And whether you're shopping online or visiting in store at Mancini Sleep World, all you got to do is use the code SNOOZE10. SNOOZE10, SNOOZE 10, SNOOZE10, and you'll get 10% off. That's SNOOZE 10, and you'll get 10% off your Mancini Sleep World purchase, whether in store or online at sleepworld.com. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krueger Show on YouTube.